with double options, but he took the southern option, and that will have been a dagger to the ribs of Nick. Best way to get your own back is that. What a fantastic first game. Looks better than the averages suggest.
91.
86 for James, 92 for Nick. We've had 4 maximums, and somewhat surprisingly,
60.
Nick Fullwell is out-maxing James Richardson. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would have thought that Richardson would be the biggest 180 hitter in all of the matches he has, considering what he's done this week.
135.
Well, the match isn't over yet, but currently Nick is 3-1 up in 180s. And he might get another.
140.
105 plus is what's required here. So Nick is going to have 6 from 121.
Nick, you require 121.
Treble 7 or possibly treble 15. The 25 is an option, but it was a more risky option in my opinion. In that spot, with an opponent north 96. Of 200, what you want to do is try and leave a double. It's a high double, like a tops or a double 18 or a double 12. You don't want to be sitting on double 6s and double 4s.
Nick, required 25.
This is not going to plan. 2 missed singles.
21.
All a bit messy on the outer ring.
James, you require.
And he's only hit 2 doubles from 14 shots. Doesn't get a match start at the bullseye.
65.
And Nick is lucky to be coming back to hold here. Double 1.
2.
What an opportunity. What a bonus here for Richardson.
65.
He didn't think he was going to get the chance. But he has got 1 dart at double top.
25.
The bonus has not been cashed.
Nick, you require 2.
The next door neighbour of tops.
Game shot on the 6th.
And he does knock on the door. So we are going all the way in this one. For the 3rd time this year, they are playing each other. And for the 3rd time, we are going to leg 7. James throws first.
7th and final leg. It's James to throw first. Game on.
This is the spot where you say to yourself, I don't want to be throwing now.
83.
I want to be walking to the practice room, thinking about my game with Scott Marsh in match 3. He still has yard work to do.
80.
This is a very truncated group. Only 8 matches in this group. 4 tonight and 4 tomorrow. So every loss is magnified.
80.
And back comes Richardson with his 2nd maximum of the match.
60.
He's got Fullwell just where he wants him.
$41.
That's a bit messy. And if Fullwell finds a 140, he's back in the leg.
$55.
He is not back in the leg. Only picks up a small treble.
85.
I think that was the right play there from James. He only came up with 85, but staying up top was a better option in my opinion. Oh, Nick, what are you doing? He gambled on the 180 and he found it.
112.
Does it matter? Double top.
92.
Well, if he'd have hit a single 20 on his last start, he would have left 166, which you can't check. Right now, he's got treble 19 and bull to finish it. He gets a match start. And 87. He misses 2.
James, you require 20.
Double 5.
10.
5 match
Nick to
darts
require
gone.
39.
Double 11. That was meant to be.
Game,
Well,
shots,
I got
and
it
the
wrong,
match.
but Nick Fullwell didn't get it wrong. It's a bit of a bitty game, he's probably saying to James Richardson right there. And it was. You can see that the averages are somewhat flummoxing for such a good game. 83 for James, 87 for Nick Fullwell. For some reason, I thought he'd hit a 17 instead of a 19. But he got the maths right, he got the execution right, and he gets the first 2 points of the night. We're going to take a short break now, but when we come back, it will be Richie Burnett up against Robert Rickwood. Hello darts fans and welcome back to Sporty Stuff TV's coverage of the online Darts Live League. I'm Paul the Asset Nicholson and we are about to have another dose of Robert Rickwood up against Richie Burnett of Wales, the living legend that has now played over 200 matches here this year. Yes, I said that right. 200. The double centurion.
First leg, it's Robert to throw first. Game on.
His first challenge of the evening is Lancashire's Robert Rickwood, who has played 27 matches here before.
41.
We last saw Robert in Phase 3. He had a bit of an up and down week, but he did make his presence felt. He played in Week 1 of Phase 3. He came 4th in Group A, then 2nd in Group C,
95.
making his way to the weekly finals, where he did not make the semi-finals in the end. But coming back, he's got a fresh challenge.
60.
Playing in a Group B with 4 other players to try and take one of the top 3 spots to go through to the weekly finals once again. But things have changed since the last time Robert was here.
60.
Not only has Richie Burnett played a lot more matches, but that weekly prize, of course, of £2,000 is now up for grabs. Anybody who makes the finals
100.
on Saturday night will get a financial bonus, but win the whole thing, and you bag 2 bags of sand.
$140.
Richie Burnett has had quite the week. Played in Group A, played very well, I might add as well. Averaged just shy of 91 for the week. Anybody who's playing 15 matches and is over a 90 average, that's saying something. Indeed, there were 3 players who averaged over 90 in Group A. Martin Adams, the eventual winner of Group
100.
A. James Richardson and Richie Burnett. He had his best average of the week yesterday, 105.47. He bagged 29 maximums
97.
in a Group A record effort.
Richie require 106.
And a high out of 167. Double 16.
Game
And
shot on
that
the
is the first leg to Richie Burnett.
Burnett.
And I am not echoing the words of Charlie Corstefine right there. I'm not trying to steal his thunder. But that is a break of throw on double 16 and more
Second
evidence
leg, it's
that
Richie
Richie
to
Burnett
throw
is playing
first.
proper darts right
Game
now.
on.
I think it is fair to say,
99.
based on the experience, not just here at the Online Darts Live League, but maybe in competitive circles, that Robert Rickwood would be the underdog in this group.
100.
In previous efforts, he has averaged 84.2 in the 27 matches he's played here. He's won roughly half his games. He's won 13 and lost 14. A high finish of 164 and a top average of 98.75.
140.
He's going to need a lot of that against this field, because the likes of Burnett, Richardson, Fullwell and Marsh have already proven to us this year that they can really average high, well into 100 odd numbers, 100 and teens potentially when it comes to Richie Burnett. If you get a shot at double, take it.
59.
Unfortunately for Rickwood, his double success rate is at the lowest of these 5 players in all matches they've played. So that needs to change. He's going to have to add
32.
at least 6 or 7% onto his usual 32% if he's going to compete in this group.
$140.
The one thing he is doing right is keeping distance from Richie Burnett, though. That characteristic leg kick at the end of the 3rd dart.
96.
You want to steer well clear of that.
Richie requires 63.
5 visits for the first leg. Could be 5 for the second.
Game shot on the second
Double
leg.
16,
Richie
watch out.
Burnett.
He is going to give that double a black eye by the end of the night, by the looks of it. 2 shots at double 16, 2 hits, and an average
Third
in
leg,
excess
it's
of
Robert
100.
to throw first.
Looking very good indeed.
81.
Rickwood from Lancashire, a very strong county when it comes to steel tip darts, because you might think that this is the only way that people play darts. In the northwest of England, they play a lot of log end darts.
180.
Well, the dartboard is not of this construct. If you don't know a lot about log end darts, which is more of a Manchester thing,
129.
have a look on Wikipedia about it. It's very interesting reading. There is, of course, soft tip darts as well, which is played against computers with a computerized board.
135.
But this is the traditional setting. Steel tip darts and Lancashire go way back.
54.
But you don't have to go too far away to find somebody else who had success from Lancashire today. And that's Stu Wilson from the town of Preston. And I do believe Robert is from Burnley, which is just up the road.
150.
Richie Burnett is doing very little wrong here. He's making Robert Rickwood flick his eyebrows at what he's doing, because he realises that Richie Burnett is on it tonight.
36. Game shot.
Wow, what a performance
Richie
this
Burnett.
is. This could be one of the eye-popping performances from Richie Burnett that we talk about until Christmas time. He's well over 100 average.
Fourth leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
I'll say at this juncture that he has a personal best of 109.31 this year. I'm not going to tell you
100.
what he's doing so far because I don't want to jinx it. But he has had plenty of ton plus averages this year.
33.
He has got a 9 darter as well, of course. And he could have had a 9 darter to finish phase 2. He won the curtain raiser to phase 2 as well.
100.
That was aptly named the Sporty Stuff Trophy. The Sporty Stuff TV Trophy, I might add. If he can do this
125.
in around about 13 darts, it could well be the 4th best average we've seen this year. Jason Askew holds the record in excess of 118.
100.
Kevin Burness has an average of over 117. And Mike Warburton has got a 115 plus.
45.
But 3 tons have got him here. Oh, he would like a 177. Rickwood knows the writing's on the wall.
135.
He's smiling because he knows this is special. He's only averaging 80. But he has not played poorly.
140.
And has not been given
Richie
one
requires
shot at a double.
66.
One dart for a 15 darter to end it.
46.
And that's the first time
Robert, you
in the
require
match
158.
that there was real pressure on him hitting a double. It may not have been coming from Rickwood. It was probably coming from
58.
himself.
Richie required 20.
Double 10.
Game,
And the average
shots,
will
and the
come
match.
down
Richie
with
Burnett.
that 16 darter. But we're just going to let the stats click over just for a few seconds because I really want to find out what that was doing. It's 107.36. And I know by looking at that it's the equivalent of 4 14 darters. That is a special display and a bit of a message to the rest of the field. We've only got one other player that we're going to see tonight who we haven't seen already, and that is Scott Marsh. He will play in the next match against James Richardson, who was edged out in the first game. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back after the break. Hello and welcome back to tonight's coverage of Group B action at the Online Darts Live League in Phase 5. We have one more player to showcase in their first game of the evening. That is Scott Marsh, and he's up against someone who needs to recover after an early defeat, and that is James Richardson. Scott Marsh joins us once again to have another crack. There's a bit of a limp going on there with Scott and that left leg. I was not aware of that. But one thing that has been fairly fashionable
Scott to throw first. Game on.
In recent times with dart players is leg braces. I am, of course, referring to Dimitri van den Berg, who wore a leg brace for a good 6 to 9 months
85
after an accident at home. And another person who's had a leg brace on this year is Robert Owen.
93.
Good thing for Scott is that the leg brace is not on his lead leg. If it was,
100.
he wouldn't be throwing. It's as simple as that. He is a very dangerous player, and I always say this. Beware the wounded player.
135.
I won a Pro Tour event once with 2 broken ribs. Not that I knew that at the time. I think if I did know that at the time, I wouldn't have won.
58.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes. But Marshy knows exactly what's going on with that leg. We'll have to do some digging for you to find out what's going on with that. We wish him all the best in recovering fully from whatever it is. But I just sense that maybe he's going to play a little bit quicker this evening because he won't want to dilly-dally.
100.
He is someone who has made Champions Week before, back in Phase 2. He has been a very good player here this year. And in fact, when we were playing the very first week of the Online Darts Live League, he was the weekly champion. Another for double 19. Beware the wounded player. I did warn you. 158 when your opponent is sitting on a double. Well, well, well.
Second leg.
You might be thinking, where did that come from?
Game on.
He is a very good player. We should expect those kinds of things from these players. They are that good.
84.
Playing on a Thursday night for these players is very much the norm. All around the country,
100.
we have a thing called Super League darts, which is the feeder system for county. And a lot of counties have their Super League night for the men on Thursday nights.
140.
No Super League for these lads. They've got bigger fish to fry. Two more players using the moulded flights here.
125.
Scott choosing the kite-shaped flights, and James with the more regular standard shape, of which there are 6 sides to that. There was a bit of a debate going on with social media earlier this afternoon about what is better. The pre-moulded flights or the kind that you fold out of the packet. It's all personal preference. But the moulded flights seem to be making more headway these days. They seem to be very popular.
100.
Richardson does well to get to a finish first. But he will be wary of what Marsh can do. Things like this, because a 140 is beckoning.
140.
That right-hand gap was gaping and just
94.
inviting that shot in. So it's Richardson's turn to try and take the shot out with his opponent on a double, and he can't find it.
22. Scott, you require 36.
Double 18 to take a 2-0 lead.
Game shot.
Double 9 is good for a 14 darter. And he's got James Richardson in very early trouble here after losing his first game, and now with Marsh at the halfway point, this is a downhill lie he's on.
Third leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
And I mean that in a bad sense. He can't stop rolling down the hill.
140.
He was given a chance in leg 2. He was not given a chance in leg 1 because of the brilliance of Scott Marsh.
100.
I don't use the word brilliance too much, but to describe this game, it is fairly brilliant.
$97.
Up until this game, Scott Marsh had played 75 matches here this year, 43 wins, and resulting in 32 losses.
100.
A very tidy win percentage of 57.3%. A running average of around 85 and change. And hitting around 1 in 3 of every double. They are very tidy stats.
55.
He has hit the maximum finish. And the only other player to have hit a 170 finish this year is his opponent, James Richardson.
140.
The only person in this group yet to register a ton plus average is Robert Rickwood. He got pretty close once with a 98.75, but all of the other players have eclipsed 105.
59. James to require 161.
A bit of an indication as to what they are capable of. Seems to me like James is getting within range.
Require 150.
And what he's lacking here are decent setup shots when Marsh is doing things the other way. That's 76, which leaves 74. He gets the approach that James has been looking for. That ideal shot. If he doesn't take the big out, at least he's left the double. And Richardson again, from the doable out, 83. Does not get a shot at double.
Scott, you require 32.
2 shots hit from 3 attempts so far for Scott. Great lie.
Game shot.
Oh, beautifully used as well. Marsh. What you might not have been focusing on with that visit there is what he did with the previous dart. He bumped it out of the way and used it to bump the dart into the 32 bed.
4th leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
That's some very smart shooting there from Scott. Because of that first dart, 100. He made that 32 bed even bigger than it was. There's every likelihood that that dart was missing double 16, but because of the previous one, it acted like one of those rails that you find at the 10-pin bowling alley. It guided it down the middle. The last thing Richardson needs right now is a 4-0 defeat.
84.
Or in fact a defeat of any kind. He wants to play on Saturday night. But if he does lose this match, he'll be on 2 losses from 2 games with 6
100.
Games to go. And a maximum 12 points he could find at the end of the group. Would 12 points be enough? Probably.
100.
Does he want to have to win all of his games to get through? Absolutely not. Let's not forget, he will be the only player after
100.
this game that has played 2 matches. Everybody will have a game in hand on him.
100.
It's not that James has played badly.
161.
96.5 average. He hasn't had any maximums, which is a bit of an anomaly for him.
57.
But here's the one thing that really jumps off the page. He hasn't had a shot at a double. Now he does.
Game shot.
Well, he takes it with a 117 check out. That is one of the highlights of the match right there, as we're about to see once again. In no time at all, he takes that ton plus check out.
5th leg, it's Scott to
but
throw
it's getting to that
Game
double that has been the issue. Not necessarily with the first 9. It's the approach to the double that's let him down.
180.
First maximum of this match comes in leg 5. And it doesn't come from James.
43.
Perfect. But misses dart number 5.
100.
To set up a 9 effort. If we are going to see a 9 this week, I think this is the group where we're going to see it.
140.
I think the protagonists for a 9 are definitely Richardson and Burnett. I wouldn't write off Nick Fullwell as well. I'm not just saying that because
85.
Richardson and Burnett have hit them this year, but they hit a lot more 180s than your usual dart player does.
134.
Even with that
Scott,
134,
you
Scott Marsh has still got
136.
6 darts from here to take care of business. Lovely lie. That's a big miss.
41.
After that first dart was plumb just under the 60, that was, at very best, a D- visit.
140.
Especially now that Richardson
Scott,
has put him under
require
pressure.
95.
Single 20 for bull. Just a little adjustment needed to open up the bullseye.
Game,
Oh,
shot,
it's beautifully
and
done
match. Scott
from
Marsh.
Scott Marsh. He has form for things like that. I've seen him in this room do that before. Look how covered this bull is. That little scooch to the left just opens up the bed, and the slight understack on that third dart gives him a valuable 4-1 victory. And it does give him a 98.67 average. He's defied 100 average from James Richardson, and that classifies just how good that game was, with only 2 misses at double in the entire match. What a wonderful game. We are going to take a short break, but when we return, we will see Robert Rickwood. He's going to be up against Nick Fullwell. Robert didn't have much luck in his first game, but Nick had plenty. So we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to our Group B action for this evening. We are now past the 11 o'clock hour on Thursday night, but there's plenty more to go. And Scott Marsh has equalised his head-to-head record with James Richardson this year. So let's see what Nick Fullwell can do against Robert Rickwood in our next match. The man from the West Midlands picked up a valuable 2 points in his first game of the night. James Richardson has now gone on to lose his first 2 games, which is a bit of a surprise. But Robert Rickwood will feel bruised after losing 4 legs to 0.
First leg, it's Nick to throw first. Game on.
He didn't do a great deal wrong. It was all about what Richie Burnett did right.
100.
And if Nick Fullwell does play to that level, I'm not sure Robert Rickwood does have the resistance that is required to surpass 107 average.
96.
Nick Fullwell has been around a long time. He's played a lot of Pro Tour darts in the past. Majority of that before the tour card era.
99.
Where he used to hang around with Terry Jenkins a lot. From the same sort of area. Very good friends. Not a great deal has changed
140.
as far as the setup is concerned of Nick Fullwell. He's been using the same darts for quite a few years. Always had a long pencil style dart with an aluminium stem
93.
and a square flight. He's never overcomplicated the game. He's a brilliant technician. He's got such a lovely stance.
95.
That micro prod. And then a beautiful extension of that right arm. Robert is slightly more unconventional. He's a bit more inside out with that style.
Nick requires 71.
That doesn't mean to say that he's not very good though.
Game
But he has lost the first leg of this contest in 14 darts, and he will hope that maybe that will continue if you're Nick. But as far as Robert Rickwood is concerned, he's thinking, why is everybody playing 14 dart stuff against me?
Game on.
What have I done to you? It's the nature of the game.
100.
One thing we do know is the personal best average of
87.
Nick Fullwell is over 105. 105.47 to be exact. He will love an effort which could take him over that. Now it's an early stage. It might be in this game. It might not be. But if he gets that first dart there a lot, or inside
100.
that treble 20 wire, then Robert is going to be in all sorts of bother.
41.
4 matches tonight for each player. 4 matches tomorrow. Same time, same place. And these players will be hoping that they're playing not only tomorrow
100.
from 10 PM, but also on Saturday night.
$94.
Nice use of that treble 18. Very Priestley-esque there, or Rob Cross-esque, depending on which generation you're from.
135.
That was a risky shot. A lot of players would have gone for the 19s with that last dart to try and trim the 9 off the end. Well, that tells you something about Nick Fullwell. He's aggressive.
Requires 79.
Another 2 darter out. 13's first. Bullseye.
54.
You couldn't fit a piece of paper
Robert,
between the wire and that point. That was narrowly missed. Is Robert Rickwood getting his first dart at a double? No, he's not.
47.
Just when you think he's figured it out,
Nick
he's going to get a shot at the outer ring. He's denied. Double 8.
9.
But now he gets a shot.
Robert, you require 26. Game shot.
And he
on the
finds it
second
with his
leg.
very first
Robert
start. So well
Rickwood.
done, Robert. You've finally done all the yard work and you get your first chance. Now you can kick on because every dart player always calms down after their first double hit.
Third leg, it's Nick to throw first. Game on.
You can just sense in the background there for Robert that he can exhale now, knowing that he's finally got a leg tonight.
83.
It's
75.
a very old school equipment approach that Robert has. Those barrels look like they've seen a few bits of action over the years. And Robert, of course,
100.
was a modern amateur darts qualifier the last time he was here.
$134.
They've got a bit of weight behind them, those darts have. And it's very rare to see two players using aluminium shafts. I don't want to go on about equipment too much,
100.
but it is a very rare thing to see that these days.
$56.
There are pieces of equipment these days where the stem is molded to the flight as well. All sorts of different modifications that you can find on the market.
45.
But the one constant thing that you will find here is that we use the Winmore Blade 5 dual core dartboard.
94.
And that's why darts is a very fair examination of one-on-one action, because the conditions
99. Robert,
are
you
exactly
require
the same for
142.
both players. It's not like golf where you might get a gust of wind.
98.
Good stuff from Robert.
Nick requires
Fullwell
74.
Should be having a shot at this for 3-0.
42.
And he might not be
Robert, you
2-1 either.
require 44.
That's another missed single. Second time in the match. Can't afford to keep doing that. Gets one dart at double 8.
28.
Very costly missed single.
Nick require 32.
I don't think Nick's going to miss this.
24.
But how wrong can you be?
Robert, you require 16.
That almost hit the double 11.
Game shot.
But
the
that one
third
does
leg.
find the double
Robert
8.
Rickwood.
And this game for Robert Rickwood is all about size of relief. Size of relief to get your first leg of the day, and size of relief that he didn't bust the shot.
Fourth leg, it's Robert to throw first. Game on.
It is testament to Rickwood that when he was last here,
41.
he played 6 consecutive days and was competitive on all 6 days.
180.
Magnificent shooting there from Nick. First maximum of the match goes his way. Yeah, just to re-emphasise what Robert did
125.
back in phase 3 as a qualifier. 4th in Group A. That's not a bad effort out of 6 players. Then Group C, another 6-player group.
100.
He came 2nd. But tied for 5th in the finals of that week.
100.
That tells me automatically that he did not win enough legs to get himself through to the semi-finals.
60.
If he can go one step further this week in getting through this group, into the finals and into the semi-finals, he will at least have the chance to
40.
make Champions Week.
Nick, you require 161.
That's where the big bucks are. Nick has been there before. He's looking at the bull.
127.
He wants that dart back. He will not be happy with that effort. Now thinking, what do I do?
85.
Do I split this or do I go straight for it?
34.
No hesitation. But that's not what he wanted.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Nick
Sometimes
Fullwell.
all you can do is sit back and laugh. Because all of the scenarios that were going through Nick Fullwell's head, I guarantee you that was not one of them.
Fifth leg, it's Nick to throw first.
Not one smile in that room, considering that checkout. I'm amazed. I don't think I've ever seen
43.
anybody take out 34 in a competitive match with double 2, double 15. It's going to take some effort this year to outdo one of the best
100.
checkouts I've seen from a Yorkshire player called James Wilson, who had 10 left. He went for 2 for double 4, but hit double 2. In fact, he hit a single 2,
85.
then double 2, double 2. And that was in a ranked event.
140.
Fullwell is back in this leg, and it looks like this one might go the distance in similar fashion to Nick's first game of the day against James Richardson, where he survived match darts. But Robert is putting up a hefty fight here. Just because Nick
60.
has a lot more PDC experience,
Robert, you require 121.
doesn't give him the guarantee of winning this match. I
57.
would get that one quickly before it falls on the floor. He does retrieve it, which of course is part of registering a score. If it falls on the floor and you don't retrieve it properly,
93.
it won't count.
Robert, you require 64.
Double top.
54.
It's not an easy chance, but at least it's a chance.
Nick, you require 120.
They're both averaging 83 and change here. Doesn't get the 60.
60.
So that is a bit of a
Robert,
white
you
flag
require
raised
10.
for leg 5. Because Rickwood's got a hell of a guide there. Oh,
Nice
he's
score.
missed it to the left.
Nick, you require 60.
It's a bit like a postman missing the letterbox.
Game shot on
What
the
a
fifth
steal
leg.
that is from
Nick
Fullwell. He did not expect any hope there. But just look at this. Little scooch to the right. Go around the bend to make sure you miss that flight, which is in the way.
Sixth leg.
And
It's
he's
Robert
3-2
to throw
up.
first.
And he knows
Game
he
on.
should be 3-2 down. How many lives is Nick using up? Is he like a cat in this group?
59.
He has not dominated Robert Rickwood or James Richardson, but has found himself winning against James
90.
and in a fabulous position against Rickwood here. But only if he can keep pace with him in leg 6.
81.
Bare minimum there. He's half a dot behind, but that's been exacerbated.
95.
That miss of Robert Rickwood to the left into the 5s is starting to creep in a little bit more. Very symptomatic of that inside-outside throw,
82.
where the elbow goes to the right-hand side and the hand goes on the inside. When you try and overcorrect, you can push it into the 5.
100.
But it's a fine effort here in leg 6. From the Lancashire man.
39.
He's got Fullwell
Robert, you
shaking his
require
head.
136.
There is that 5 again.
160.
He won't care about that now, seeing as he leaves a double with Nick north of 170, but not for long.
100.
You
Robert, you
feel he
require
needed more than
20.
that. I don't think he's going to survive this leg. But you never know. And he
Game shot on
doesn't
the
survive the
sixth
leg.
leg.
It's
Robert
3-3.
Rickwood.
And for the second time this evening, it is going to be a one-leg shootout for Nick Fullwell. This time, he has the darts, though.
7th and final leg. It's Nick to throw first. Game on. $85.
Very stubborn on the 60 is Nick. Even when he plants that first dart right in the way, just there. Rickwood is smart enough to switch.
93.
Not once, but twice. But Nick is going to be completely stubborn on the maximum bed.
100.
And he comes up with a decent return in his first 6.
$119.
Superb pressure being applied on Fullwell's throw here. But he is up to it.
140.
Very strong. The averages haven't really changed much over the last few legs.
140.
But the averages can be thrown out of the window now. It's all about what they do in the next 6 darts.
125.
This
Robert,
is
you
Robert's
require
opportunity, maybe his
149.
only opportunity to win the match. Treble 19. Double 16.
Game,
Oh,
shots,
that's magnificent
and the match.
from Robert Rickwood. He has a bigger finish this year than that, but even that will bring a smile to his face. That was absolutely incredible. Well, 51 left for Nick Fullwell to finish the match off, but that wasn't good enough. The average was better than Nick's in the end. The doubles checkouts, they were better as well, but that 149, he'll be smiling about that for the rest of the night, I am sure. We're going to take another short break, but when we come back, it's going to be Scott Marsh up against Richie Burnett. Well, boys, can you finish a game better than that? We'll find out in a few short moments. So far, so good as we go into match number 5 when it comes to these two players who will now go head-to-head to see who will get to 4 points first. Will it be Marsh or will it be Burnett? There you see the table after 4 matches. And James Richardson, yes, he's sitting on 0 points, but all is not lost after his first 2 games have resulted in a loss.
First leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
He may have just been done a favour by Robert Rickwood in taking the win away from the person who conquered him first, because it's still a very tightly packed group with 4 players on 2 points. That's about to change though. But if you are James Richardson right now, you're thinking, okay, I'm playing in the next match against Rickwood.
180.
I'll do my best to get off the mark. But this promises to maybe be the best game of this night. Both started well. Richie Burnett with a 4-0 win, averaging over 107. Scott Marsh
60.
with a 98.67 average, hitting 2/3 of his doubles and defying his opponent's 100 average and 100% on doubles. It defies logic.
100.
But I assure you that darts sometimes does defy logic.
$100. Richie require 100.
Strong first leg from both players. Burnett looks so sharp. Bullseye. I fancy him for this. I wasn't far away.
Scott, you require 161.
Everything he touches tonight is either in or close.
$57. Richie required.
He did
25.
win by 4 legs to 0. It was the equivalent of 14 darters all the way. And 14 darts is possible here. That's probably one of the worst darts he's thrown tonight.
9.
He does give Scott Marsh a teensy-weensy
Scott,
chance
you
here.
require 104.
Only 1 treble needed. Might need to go elsewhere. Did the right thing. The 60 bed was covered. The treble 16 would have left him on double 18.
84.
Leaves himself
Richie
on double 10
60.
if Richie has more trouble north of double 16.
Game shot
But he
on the
has no
first
trouble.
leg. Richie
And
Burnett.
16 darts is enough to take that first leg against Scott Marsh, of which he's got plenty of experience against. We'll get into that in a second as he takes the first leg and still hasn't lost a leg tonight.
Second leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
When you get this kind of start where you've won 5 straight legs, you get that feeling in your gut. Is tonight going to be the night
57.
where I don't lose a leg at all? It's possible, but improbable. They have met 5 times before.
100.
They met in late June a couple of times and in late August 3 times. Pretty even stuff. Scott's got 2 wins. One of those being their last meeting on the 25th of July. Winning by 4 legs to 3 in a very good contest where both averages were in the mid-90s. The 3 meetings in the middle, all won by Richie Burnett. By 4 legs to 1, 4 legs to 2 and 4 legs to 3. But the one result missing from their cluster of matches is a 4-0. Nobody's been gubbed, in the words of fellow commentator Chris Mason.
96.
I'm sure Chris is at home right now doing his best impression of a Bond baddie on the release day of the new Bond movie. Probably tuning in tonight to see his pal Richie play.
140.
I say an impression of a Bond body because he has a white cat.
$57.
Marsh was wise to go 19s there on 265, but it didn't work out as planned. This is working out as planned.
180.
Plan A. Page 2 of Plan A is tops in 1.
140.
Marsh comes up with a decent visit himself.
Richie require 40.
But Burnett is playing like a man with a bulletproof vest on.
Game shot on the second
13 darter.
Richie Burnett.
And yet again, he is in 3 figures with his average at the halfway mark. Maybe not to the level that he was before, but still playing beautifully.
Third leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
Could he maybe deliver his first 3-figure average against Scott in all of their previous head-to-heads? He has not found one.
140.
But he looks sharper now than I've seen him in any game against Scott. In this kind of mood, I would not be shocked to see Burnett averaging 3 figures in all 4 of his matches tonight. He's playing that well.
$60.
I just wonder what other chapters are going to be written in this storied life of the man from the valleys.
100.
Looking back at his career, there have been a lot of near misses. Maybe he could have won more than one world title. Maybe he might get another one in the future. We just don't know.
180.
But he has taken the lead in 180s in this match. That's his second. And the scoring is just so good.
140. Richie require
well reciprocated there by Scott Marsh. Again, it's 11 bull.
96.
And again, it's just to the left-hand side. It's in exactly the same puncture wound in the 25 as the last time he was there. Same shot, different result.
57. Richie required 25.
You are getting a treat tonight on Sporty Stuff TV. Richie Burnett in fine fettle.
Game shot on the
and
third
now
leg.
3-0 up.
Burnett.
And for the night, he is 7-0 up. That dream night of not losing a leg is still possible.
Fourth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
He is just so good when he's in this mood. Makes the game look easy. And he makes it look
60.
increasingly difficult for his opponents. You might think, why doesn't he do this all the time? If only it was that simple. If he can win this leg
60.
in something like 12 darts, possibly 15, he could well go through 2 matches and deny both opponents 1 shot at a double.
140.
That's the kind of thing that Mike Warburton was doing a couple of weeks ago, where he registered his best average of 115. He backed it up with another ton plus average straight after, and his 2 opponents didn't get 1 shot at a double. It was quite astounding. Marsh is much better off, unless Burnett gets a maximum here. You just feel it's coming.
140.
Not quite. He just wanted that extra piece to get himself to 185. But the destiny of this leg is firmly in Scott Marsh's grasp. Especially after that 2 treble visit. Wants to get to 85 here. But get away from the 20, Richie. That was so courageous, if not a little bit foolish. Single 20 would have left 165. But that leaves a shot at a double against Richie Burnett.
Game shot on the
well, there you have it. One shot at a double for the night against Richie Burnett. And after confirming with our referee, Charlie Corstefine, Marsh takes it out with no hesitancy.
5th leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
Now the job for Marsh is clear. Don't let Burnett get a match shot. He's averaging 99.21 as Scott.
41.
Maintaining that really high level of play that we saw earlier. But Burnett is about 3 points better off.
$57.
Scott Marsh has been predominantly a soft tip player in years gone by. Playing from 8 feet away. That is the rule within soft tip darts. Whereas in steel tip, this version,
43.
7'9" and 1/4 inch away is this hockey, so it's a little bit closer. But the targets on this board are smaller than the dart boards you would have in the soft tip version that he played.
140.
He's not going to give up. He's giving it the micro fist pumps. He still thinks he can win this match. Can he poke at any fragility that Richie shows?
29.
And that's about as fragile as we've seen him all evening.
$59.
This one has slowed down ever so slightly. Burnett's average has plummeted. But that can happen in short format matches.
59.
You just wonder if he's peaked for the evening. Playing at this time of night is becoming a bit of a habit for these guys. They've played a lot of nighttime darts here at the Online Darts Live League this year. They've also played a fair bit of daytime darts. It's really important for players in
58.
this group to program their rest properly. And if they're not used to staying up late, you can get caught out in losing concentration very quickly.
$100.
I was always a subscriber in my career that if I was playing a late match in a big ranking event, I would sleep until
99.
maybe 6 hours before my match and then do my preparations. And if it was really late, have a nap in the afternoon to make sure I was really ready to fire.
190.
Burnett with his third maximum
You require 88.
puts himself within striking distance of the match. He waves it off. I'm not sure why. He might get a shot if Scott misses the ball. Oh, but he doesn't. Oh, job number 1. That was to take leg 4. Job number 2. Don't let Richie Burnett get a shot for the match. That was denied by the brilliance of Marsh. I sincerely remember in my career playing in the first round of the World Grand Prix
81.
10 years ago against Ronnie Baxter. My scheduled game time was around 11:15 at night. Not that dissimilar to what we are now. We finished after 12 o'clock.
45.
And that wasn't a common occurrence in my career. And I got some great advice from fellow Welshman of Richie Burnett's, Mark Webster, he said, sleep as late as you can.
100.
He was right. And that was something that I have employed in my career a lot. It definitely helps when you can sleep as well as Mark does.
43.
You might ask me, who are the top sleepers on tour? Well, from what I know, Mark is up there, Michael Smith is, and Gary Anderson is. They could all sleep for their countries.
100.
This one has flipped completely. There is maybe only one saving grace for Richie Burnett left.
59.
And that's the fact that he has the darts in leg 7. He will have zero momentum. And at the back of the room right now, he looks like a very confused
100.
rat that's stuck in a maze. This is where you've got to exercise your thoughts properly. Get a good rhythm to go into the next leg.
Scott, you require
and then attack.
120.
You have to break your opponent's heart the way that they want to break yours.
100.
Double 10 left to have the opportunity of winning from 3-0 down. Not really sure how that last dot went into treble 20.
20.
I don't even think he's thinking about it. Double 7. And he won't be thinking about it because the leg is done. And we are going to leg 7 once again for the 3rd time tonight. But this one, thoroughly unexpected after a blistering start from Richie.
7th and final leg. It's Richie to throw first. Game on.
This is where Burnett is tested mentally.
$83.
That last dart is very well received. Marsh is also tested mentally here because he has won the last 3 legs.
96.
And they may joust with 1 treble visits all the way to the finish. The Marsh average is 94.
81.
The Burnett average is a couple of clicks less than that. But it's another 1 treble visit for the Welshman. Here comes a biggie.
180.
It doesn't get any bigger. That's Marsh's 2nd maximum. What he would give for a 3rd.
85.
Well, somehow he stayed on 1 foot there, Richie Burnett, giving it the full Swan Lake. But I am amazed that he didn't go for the treble 19 with the last dart. That's 80 scored. And Marsh is getting very close
99.
to possibly winning this one. Burnett needs 2 big trebles here. Not that one. The despair that you can see. He gives it the Instagram pose, but it's not going to give you more points, Richie. Might put a hand on his hip, but he wants to stick that dart in the 60.
28.
Comes up very dry.
Scott, you require 126.
Everything was so rosy after 3 legs. But things have changed.
54.
This match is not over. If Richie can find a 140 one more time, he's got to stay straight.
60.
That's not enough.
Scott, you require 72.
That gives him 2 match darts. That's far enough away.
Game, shots,
And it was
and
far
the
enough away
match.
to give him
Scott
a clear
Marsh.
shot at double 12. So for the first time in Group C and Group B, we have found someone winning from 3-0 down. It's never over until it's over. Richie Burnett was in position to win it, but he was never given the shot. 94.95 for Scott Marsh and 67% on the doubles. That maintains a very strong start for him, and he's the first person to 4 points in this group. We are going to see James Richardson up against Robert Rickwood next. So go and make yourself a very quick cup of tea, and we'll be back right after this. One half of our games have been completed now for Thursday's action in Group B. So let's start the second half, and let's see if the second half will be kinder to James Richardson, who was sitting at the foot of the table on 0 points. There you see the group is led by Scott Marsh. Led. Sack the English teacher. James Richardson has a job to do, though, after losing his first 2 matches of the night.
First leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
Maybe the second half can be better to him than the first. Maybe he can massage his inner Manchester United from yesterday.
96.
He will hate me saying that because he's an Ipswich Town fan. Maybe Robert Rickwood is a Burnley fan. I'll have to check that one. But you would assume that someone from Burnley will support the team from Turf Moor. We shall see, because social media usually lights
43.
up when I get someone's football team wrong. I had to get some inside information to find out who James Richardson supported not so long ago. But right now he's supporting himself.
180.
Oh, how much he would crave a big victory against Robert to reignite his challenge in this group. And if he is to find the victory against Robert,
24.
we would have 1 player on
James
4 points and 4 players on 2 points. It couldn't be any closer. Double top.
Game shot.
What a start from James Richardson. A 1-2-5 out. Starts things off with a bit of a bang. He's had a little bit of a break since his last match. 2 matches have taken place since he lost 4 legs to 1 to Scott Marsh. So something has happened in the last 40 minutes or so.
81.
That one can be retrieved. That was not thrown forward with intent in an overarm fashion.
140.
So a dart that is dropped on the floor can be retrieved and thrown, but if it's thrown overarm with forward motion, it will count.
85.
Key to the Richardson game.
60.
He's trying to find that 60 with the first dart, like it is with everybody, but in a somewhat similar fashion to Nick Fullwell, James is constantly
100.
Sticking on that 60 bed when in fact a switch is probably the right play. This time he does it right.
58.
Rickwood is playing steady stuff. All he's got to do is pick off the legs on his throw and ask for 1 opportunity to break. We've had 3 matches go all the way all
Robert, you
all night long.
135.
Can we go 10 better than the previous leg? The answer is no.
57. James, you require
James
150.
wants a shot at double 15 with this, I can tell. He's not going to get it.
60.
All he can do
Robert,
is trim it down
78.
to 2 singles and bull. But Rickwood is already at a finish of tops.
Game
a finish
shot
which he takes.
Robert Rickwood.
So we are seeing a bit of a clinic 2 legs into this match. Very typical steady stuff from the man from Burnley.
Third leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
If you can't score to the level of a Richardson or a Burnett, what have you got to do?
134.
Remain steady with your scoring, get some big approach shots, and be deadly on the outer ring.
43.
Now, at this early stage, I don't like to talk about averages, but right now, when you're sitting on a 73 average like Robert is,
77.
and your opponent has 102, it just goes to show that averages mean nothing at this stage of a match.
134.
The most important thing is, where do you stand in the leg count? Perfect. Again, perfect.
140.
And he walks away disappointed. He could not have walked to the board and
60.
put those first 2 darts in better spots.
James, you require 150. 78.
Turns out to be a decent visit there with that switch to the 57.
44. James, you require 72.
Should be treble 16. 2 singles leaves tops. Anything to leave tops.
Game shot.
And it's right in the bottom
James
corner.
Richardson.
That was a fabulous shot. It may not have been in the middle. In fact, all 3 darts were not in the middle of their target. But who cares when they register the right number?
Game on.
Great stuff from Robert Rickwood. This is my first up-close examination of Robert. I was not in the hot seat when he was last here.
95.
I like what I see. He may not be a classic technician, but he strikes me as a very gritty player.
121.
And he's not going to go away. He reminds me of plenty of players that I grew up with who had these fabulous Super League reputations and county reputations. And if you put them in a pressure game against someone with quality, they will find something.
134.
And he's finding it right here. His best scoring leg of the night so far.
$105.
Sensible from Richardson.
Robert, you require 66.
Could be a 12-darter.
26.
And that is the first dart missed at a double in the match.
James, you require 167.
Richardson looks at the ball. Oh, it wasn't in. It was a 25, but it pops out.
Robert, you require 40.
And Rickwood, without hesitation, comes back and takes the leg in 13 darts. What a great game this has been so far, with very little in the way of errors. And I wonder what's going to happen over the next 3 legs, potentially.
5th leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
If that 167 was taken, that would not have been the best finishing effort from James this year. He has had a 170.
180.
He's also had 2 180s in this match.
$58.
James has got a very big following of friends and family, I'm sure, tuning in tonight on Sporty Stuff TV.
55.
Very popular with dart players throughout Northamptonshire in England.
56.
Has always done a lot for military charities, especially a charity called Darts for Heroes. His wife Carolyn, his son Josh.
59.
Josh,
James,
a fine player himself.
132.
But maybe not at the same level as his dad yet.
92.
I emphasize the word yet. There's plenty of time. But it's not taking a great deal of time for this match to take place, I assure you.
James, you require 40.
Richardson continues to improve. Step to the left on double 10. Should have stayed where you were, James.
35.
Is there some pressure coming?
98.
I like that switch. I'd rather have 130 than 128.
5. No
Ooh,
score.
You can't miss that single.
Robert, you require 130.
That was the tiniest bit lazy. Can Rickwood punish?
41.
He gets the 1 that Richardson wanted.
James, you require 5.
That's the 1 that you want.
Game shot on the
And
fifth.
that's the 5 that you want.
James Richardson.
3-2 to Richardson. It doesn't matter whether you get a 167 checkout, a 142 checkout, somewhere in between, or even down towards a 5. Get the double. That's the main thing.
6th leg, it's Roberts to throw first.
I can't believe I just said that's the 1 that you want, and I didn't start singing the grease number.
40.
Maybe if it was Friday night, I would. But secretly, everybody knows that I prefer grease 2 to grease 1. That's just one of my silly idiosyncrasies.
140.
Rickwood is not going to go quietly.
180.
And he is not a big 180 hitter by any means, but he has equalised the 180 position of Richardson in this match.
100.
He maintains the advantage of throw. Only just.
81.
Only a dart adrift now, Richardson. If he can leave 1-2-1 here, he will be in charge. He doesn't want to go 19s because 96 leaves 165.
91.
Well, 170 for the match. That's what he will have. Notice how he didn't go for the treble 14 there.
60.
Well, James,
James, you require 170.
as the saying goes, you left it. And you can hit it. Bull.
Game, shots, and the match.
Oh, you
James
can do
Richardson.
nothing but laugh sometimes. He misses a 167, but he takes a 170 for the match. The ideal time to do it. And just remember how he set it up. He thought about going for the 19s. He thought about leaving possibly a bogey number, but he did the smart thing, and he ends up with an average just shy of 100, 50% on checkouts. But that 170, what a perfect way to get your first 2 points in this group. Everything is tightly packed now. As we go into our next break, we will have Richie Burnett and Nick Fullwell doing a battle when we return. So keep it, Sporty Stuff TV. We'll be back very soon. Last few matches, we've seen a couple of really good ways to finish a best-of-7 match. Robert Rickwood with a 149 earlier, but nothing better than that 170 that we've just seen from James Richardson. Richie Burnett is now back at the Ocky against Nick Fullwell in recovery mode after losing 4-3 to Scott Marsh. This group could not be tighter. And that's not going to change with this match, because whoever wins this one will go to 4 points, and that then puts pressure on the bottom 3. But I just suspect that this group is going to go to the wire come this time tomorrow.
First leg, it's Nick to throw first. Game on.
These two will know each other extremely well. And we have met a couple of times before
30.
In this room, both going the way of Richie Burnett back on the 16th and 17th of September.
60.
They weren't blistering displays by Richie on those occasions. But if there is one thing
57.
going through his mind right now, it is, how did I lose to Scott Marsh? Averaging well over 100 at 3-0 up. And he did not get
95.
one match dart to win it at any point. After a couple of games that didn't take long at all.
134.
In matches 2 and 3. Matches 4, 5 and 6 tonight have all been close. Will that trend continue? Richie will hope not.
180.
Big shout out to our referee Charlie Costafine, who's put in a shift today.
190.
And he's called plenty of those. Called 15 matches this morning. He's into his 7th for the evening, and if you think refereeing is easy, you're mistaken.
58. Nick require
Richie
100.
Created the cardinal sin there by leaving a bogey number.
Game
And has
shot on
lost the
first
leg as a result,
Nick
because you
Fullwell.
can't take 166. Everybody knows that, and he should know that with all of his experience. Well, Nick knows you can take 100 in 3.
Second leg, it's Richie to throw first.
No major damage done by losing that one there. But after winning 7
100.
consecutive legs at the start of his night, he seemed impervious. But since then, he's lost 5 straight.
81.
So he's creating spells for himself. Can he go on another run?
100.
It's not that he's playing poorly. He ended up with an average of 89 in that game with Marsh, but his average did plummet a good 13 points
59.
throughout the course of those last 4 legs. But in defeating that first leg, he averaged almost 100. I've always said darts is the equivalent of batting your head against the wall.
140.
It's just a question of how much pain can you take. And will the wall crumble before your head does?
$180. Richie require 161.
Richie shouldn't worry about that maximum, because he still has 6 darts from 161.
99.
That's fine. Even with the effort at the 25, getting the single 19, he's still in position to win this leg, and he's going to have to do it the hard way with pressure.
145.
What about that?
Richie
325
requires 62.
in 6 to leave double 18. Tops.
42.
No matter what Burnett does,
Nick
people
require
seem to be able to
36.
pressurize him from every position.
Game shot on
And
the
that's
second
in.
leg.
And Nick Fullwell from nowhere finds a massive, massive leg. Great approach work. 180, 145 with a 25 at the end, and gets rid of the double 18 and double
Third
quick
leg,
time.
it's Nick to throw first. Game on.
If you don't think that Nick Fullwell is dangerous,
59.
you are wrong. He's one of those local heroes who has dabbled in the pro game over the last 15 years. He has gone home and told tales of the tour. But rest assured, amongst the elite of the game, people know how good Nick Fullwell can be.
44. $140.
The only way to cancel out the disappointment of losing from 3-0 up is to do it to somebody else. Well, word to the wise, Richie, don't allow Nick to get to 3-0 up. That just makes things even harder.
60.
But this is the third match of their 4 for the night. Richie will finish up against James Richardson. And Nick Fullwell will finish against Scott Marsh in the last game of the evening.
60.
We are past the midnight hour now here in the UK.
140.
But I'm sure there are plenty of people watching from around the world.
$60.
We will have more Group C action
Richie
tomorrow, of course.
118.
Where 2 players from a 6-person group will book their space in Saturday night's finals, which will be live from 10 p.m. on Sporty Stuff TV here in the UK
54.
and YouTube internationally.
Nick, you require 153.
The chance of the 153 is gone. But the chance of winning the leg is
59.
not.
Richie requires 64.
It very much depends on what happens here. This entire game could hinge on the next 2 darts. Double top.
Game shot on the third leg.
That will
Richie
make him
Burnett.
feel so much better. Taking that shot out and getting a break of throw now gets him back in the match. Perfectly distributed that
Fourth
one.
leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
When that throw is smooth, it's so beautiful to watch.
140.
Every now and again, a bolt of lightning shoots through his body and he contorts himself
22.
as if he is the thing that was put in the air by Benjamin Franklin, conducting electricity.
100.
I'd love to know what goes through his mind sometimes, and indeed what sensation goes through his
60.
body and his legs when that follow-through occurs, which has been christened by my commentary colleague Dan Dawson as a scorpion kick. So much for the scorpion kick. That was more of a scorpion tickle.
60.
Fullwell is tickling the wire
Richie require
on the wrong side of
81.
that 60, and Burnett has found plenty of it. Double 18 for an 11 darter.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Richie Burnett.
It's so weird watching Richie sometimes, I have to admit, because there are legs where he can't hit anything because he's always shaking his head. And then all of a sudden,
Fifth
you
leg,
click
it's
your
Nick
fingers,
to throw first. Game on.
and he's hitting everything again. 2-2 in a race to 4. The Burnett average has gone over 100,
43.
only just. The Nick Fullwell average has tumbled to 84. Their double stats are identical at 67%.
140. 49.
Just looking at the two games that they have played previously, Richie's the only person to attain
81.
an average in the 90s or above. That was in their first meeting, where he won by 4 legs to 3 with a 92.54.
55.
Next best effort was in the second match they had, where he averaged 89.43, but still managed to lose to Burnett with a lesser average.
$140.
Seems to me like Richie Burnett got more chances at doubles, way more chances in those two matches. And if you look at what he did, 12 attempts and 4 hits on the first game, 14 attempts and 4 hits in the second game. So he's definitely scoring better than Nick every time they play it. This game
60.
is exactly the same, judging by the averages, not by the doubles percentages yet, or indeed the attempts, because like I say, they are exactly the same for both players.
93. Richie require 80.
There's going to be no tops here, but there is a double 10 in his future potentially. That double 10 is found. Almost like a crystal ball. He just glides his way to a 3-2 lead, and he knows a thing or two about having 3 legs today. In fact, this is the 3rd time he's had 3 legs in a match.
6th leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
1 time he has won from that position, 1 time he has lost. So what can he do with a break in hand to try and serve this one by 4 legs to 2 to get himself back into the reckoning?
83.
Maybe the most impressive thing about Richie Burnett this year isn't the 9 darter he has hit.
190.
It isn't winning the Sporty Stuff TV trophy, as Nick Fullwell gets his 3rd maximum of the match. Maybe it's not winning phase 2, as Richie gets his 3rd 180 of the match. Maybe the most impressive thing is that he has found his way to Champions Week every single time as we set up a possible 9. I said a little bit earlier that the possibility of a 9 in this group was ripe.
60.
Can Nick Fullwell add his name to the list
141.
with Richardson, Adams and Burnett? Not this time.
97.
Yes, Burnett made Champions Week in phase 2, in phase 3 and phase 4. In order to keep it going, he's got to get through this group in the top 3
Nick required
and
44.
make the top half on Saturday night. Double 16 to take us all the way again. That's where we're going, and Richie Burnett now has been broken and will have to find a break in the last leg of the match if he wants to get 2 more points. Everything with Burnett involved is dramatic. That is the case tonight.
Throw first. Game on.
If he's not bulldozing his way to a 4-0 victory and a 107 average, he's involved in a brilliant best of 7 leg match, which is taken to the limit. Does he have enough mental strength
134
to go all the way here? He could walk away from tonight with only 2 points if he loses this game and loses to Richardson in match
58.
number 9. But he could walk away with 6 if he wins this leg and beats Richardson.
100.
Decent ton to back up his 1-3-4 start. Fullwell tons down, but he is only 24 ahead. That lead is gone.
140.
So close to getting a fourth maximum. We've already had 7 in this game. 4 from Nick, 3 from Richie.
100.
And that will be that for maximums.
Richie require 127.
Nick has won that race by 4 legs to 3. Will he win the match? 4 legs to 3. First, it depends if Richie hits the bull. Don't give him a shot. He was too hesitant for me. He was out of rhythm. He was thinking about going 18 there. That would have been a bad play. Treble 17 for double 16. And yet again, we have seen a mammoth finish at the end of a match. And it just goes to show, doesn't it? You don't negate the bull when a world-class player has a shot. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's, of course, a 149 that we saw from Robert Rickwood, a 170 from James Richardson, and now the 143, which gives Nick Fullwell a win with an average 13 less than his opponent. What a match, and what a way to finish round 3 for those guys. We're going to pick the bones out of that one a little bit later, but first we're going to take a bit of a break before we come back with Rickwood and Scott Marsh. Dramatic night, which will continue right after this. a bad night's viewing so far for darts fans, eh? Some of the finishes we have seen tonight to finish matches, you very rarely get to see them once, never mind twice or thrice. Well, going forward, Robert Rickwood will finish his night's campaign right now against Scott Marsh. Scott has played twice, and he will play 2 more times. Once against Rickwood, and once against Nick Fullwell.
First leg, it's Robert to throw first. Game on.
He still has the opportunity of a perfect 8 points for the night. But as for Robert, the best effort he can put in is 4 points.
60.
If he can somehow get over Scott Marsh, the man from Kent here. No previous meetings between these two. So it will be interesting to see
57.
how this challenge presents itself for Robert against Scott. I've been impressed with Robert tonight.
80.
I don't think he's brought his best game, but one thing he has brought is tenacity. He's brought a somewhat Robert Thornton style quality
140.
to tonight's play. In being drubbed by 4-0 against Richie Burnett earlier, he didn't do a great deal wrong, but since then, he's been dogged.
140.
He started the trend of big finishes as a climax to a match in beating Nick Fullwell with a 149 at the very last visit of the match. Richardson did that to Rickwood with a 170. And that 143 we've just seen, which has snapped Richie Burnett's heart in half.
45.
As he was waiting for a shot at something very small. I do believe he had 39 left when Nick took out that 143, which is one of the hardest finishes on the board.
140.
But you have to be impressed with Scott Marsh tonight. He started his campaign in game number 3.
60.
A win against James
Scott,
Richardson.
121.
And a win against Richie Burnett, both with averages in the mid to high 90s. He's in a good place.
97.
And he's the person who could bag the most
Robert,
points
you require
tonight.
116.
Nobody's got more than 4 right now. Rickwood does not get a shot at tops.
54. Scott, you require 24.
Double 12 for an opening leg break.
Game shot on the first leg.
Just looks
Scott
really
Marsh.
relaxed. And I just wonder, with that strapping or that brace on his left leg, is he playing with a level of freedom and no pressure because he's more worried
Second
about
leg,
that
it's
than his
Scott
game?
To throw first. Game on.
We do know that Scott Marsh can attain a very high level of
40.
play. This year, his best average in a match, 105.26. But last year, it was a lot more than that,
60.
playing from his garage in the Lockdown Live League, where he managed to get up to 114. That seems like a long time ago.
140.
He had a mixed 2020, did Scott Marsh. Played a lot of darts from home. Didn't play a great deal of soft tip. Turned his attention to steel tip.
54.
And made his European Tour debut in the PDC as well in Risa. I think with the way he plays the game and the amount of confidence he exudes when he's playing well, he could be a really good addition to the PDC Tour someday, maybe next year.
120.
Well, that's bad luck for Robert
Scott,
Rickwood.
you require 141.
A dart on the floor, but it probably doesn't matter.
65.
That'll do for now. As long as the pressure is not exerted by the man from Burnley. He's got to be careful here.
100.
That was very wise.
Scott, you require 76.
Double 8.
Game shot on the
Superbly
second
done in
leg.
15
Scott
darts.
Marsh.
He backs up that opening leg break straight through on double 12, goes to double 8, and 2 shots hit from 3 in this match, and he's continuing in the same vein as earlier.
Third leg, it's Robert to throw first. Game on.
Could it possibly be a second drubbing for Robert Rickwood, which wouldn't be catastrophic for his chances of making it through this group, but it definitely wouldn't help. Currently,
100.
his leg difference is the worst of any player in this group at -5. That is worrying. And with everybody registering points now,
140.
he is now at the bottom of the table. Is probably feeling quite defensive.
81.
He has the better position after 6 darts here, though. Strong stuff from the man who has 3 darts on his right forearm. Now there's a man who loves darts.
60.
I've been in the game for nearly 15 years as a pro, and I don't have any darts on my body.
$100.
Maybe I should.
Robert, you require 161.
One of the best tattoos on tour is Simon Whitlock. He's got a roulette wheel on his right arm. He is covered in tattoos, as are many dart players now, like Joe Cullen, Clarkson, Michael Smith. Seems to be the look right now. So Marsh has got to stay straight. He can't afford to go anywhere else apart from that 20.
60. Robert, you require 61.
Maybe a 25 first. Treble 15 first.
41.
So the chance is here
Scott, you
for
require
3-0.
160.
To have a chance to serve it out. Nestle it next to that. Just like that for tops.
Game
Oh,
on the
Scott
third leg.
Marsh.
Scott Marsh.
Tonight we are seeing so many big finishes. What have these guys had for dinner? Look at that nod in the background from Robert Rickwood. Everybody is
Fourth leg,
hitting
it's Scott
everything
to throw
against him.
first. Game on.
What has he done to people? I assure you, it's not personal.
100.
And Scott has got to make sure that he's careful with that leg. He can't get carried away. I think he's still enjoying that 160.
41.
Everybody take a bow tonight. Everybody's brought a brilliant dose of their own game.
140.
We've seen a 149, a 160, a 170, a 143. This is not the norm. We did not see any
44.
finishing like that this morning, or indeed early this afternoon. These guys really have brought their game.
95.
Bad second dart, but he'll take that lead every day. 250. And in this group, Rickwood is in trouble. He is not out of it. He may need to find 6 to 8 points tomorrow to find his way to the top 3.
60.
But his leg difference going into Friday looks very, very troublesome.
45. Scott, you require 106.
He's probably got 9 darts from here. He might only need the 3.
54.
I'm really surprised he went for the 16s there. The lie for the 60 was perfect to try and leave double 4.
119.
Not that I'm criticising it all, because
Scott,
this
you
is a very good
require
performance from Scott
52.
again. Mid-90s average. Doubles percentage is high. He gets another nod of approval in the background.
Scott Marsh.
And I think Robert Rickwood would have to just nod in approval in saying that 2 people who played him tonight were just too good. 1 shot at a double in that match for the entirety for Robert Rickwood, but 67% and an average of just shy of 94, just maintaining strength from the man with the strap on his leg. We hope that's okay, but his chances in this group are very strong indeed, because he's the first man to 6 points. Our penultimate match, which will take place after the break, is Richie Burnett against James Richardson. You don't want to miss that one. Stay with us. everyone, and welcome back to our online darts live league coverage. We have 2 matches remaining for you this evening, or indeed this morning, as we are now past the midnight hour. But our 2 most experienced players will now duel in this 9th game of the night to see who gets the last 2 points of their night. Marsh undefeated on 6 points. He could have company on that amount, but that will depend on what Nick Fullwell does against him next.
First leg, it's Richie to throw first. Game on.
So to stay in the race for the top 3, to bolster their position ahead of tomorrow, or indeed later tonight.
84.
2 points on offer here, and these could be vital. I would not want to pick right now who was going to come through this group.
60.
I'd say that Robert Rickwood, who was finished for the night on 2 points and -9, has got a mountain to climb. But these 2, who are both on 2 points as well,
44.
have got to be positive from here. Things could be so different if Richie Burnett had converted that position against Nick Fullwell a little bit earlier. And of course, if he'd converted his position against Scott Marsh, where he was 3-0 up, he could be sitting here on 6 points himself, shooting for a possible 8.
60.
That is now a distant memory. He will have to settle for a very tidy half amount of 4 if he can come through this game against an opponent
140.
he knows very, very well. This is their 4th meeting of this week, and Burnett
96.
is currently 2-1 up
Richie require
after
110.
winning 4-0 on Monday and 4-3 on Tuesday. He did suffer a 4-1 defeat to James on Wednesday,
50.
but this is now Friday.
James, you require 145.
You've got to be kidding me. I really thought we were going to get another one there. I'm not sure Richie Burnett can
85.
withstand any more big finishes
Richie
going against him.
60.
Double top.
40.
Well, unfortunately, the downfall of this leg could
James
fall at his own feet.
60.
Tops for Richardson.
$40.
And he's unable to break in 18.
Richie require 20.
This should signify a 1-0 lead for Burnett. He's getting so close.
10.
Maybe too close. Gives himself an ironic
James, you
2
require
thumbs
20.
up and round of applause. Double 5.
15.
You can sense the tension at the early portion of this
Richie
match. The
required
averages are out the
10.
window. It's all about who can cash. Richardson is livid,
6.
but he will feel less livid if he finds 5 more points.
James, you require 5.
He tried this earlier and missed the single.
James
Doesn't
shot
miss
the first
anything
leg.
here.
James
And that is a
Richardson.
very unexpected break of throw in 23 darts. Yes, it is indeed the Michael Jordan of legs, done in 23.
Second leg, it's James to throw first.
That's a somewhat ironic statement as well, because I'm sure if Michael Jordan was a dart player,
140.
he'd get it done in less than 23 darts. Now, if
96.
Richie Burnett does walk away with only 2 points tonight, after the start he had, he will think that someone's chopped his foot off. It will feel that painful.
100.
He won the first 7 legs of his night. And since then, most things have gone wrong.
100.
But we all know, watching Richie Burnett, that things just aren't that simple.
100.
Going into Friday night's action, he will have his back against the wall by the looks of it. He's trying to protect that perfect record of making Champions Week in every phase.
100. James, you require
In doing so in phase 4, he did it the hard way. He had to win last leg shootouts. He had to win last matches of groups just to get in. He did that.
100.
Richardson,
James, you require
scoring
96.
better in leg 2. Went for the 60 there.
38.
I think that was the right option, but
Richie,
maybe he was caught in 2 minds.
105.
That doesn't help.
3 scored.
Nobody takes 102 in 2. Not in steel tip darts anyway. You can in soft tip with a master out format with treble 14 and 60. Because in master out you can finish on a treble.
$73.
Whenever
James,
you play
require
Burnett, you've got to be
58.
patient. You've got to forget about what he's doing and do your own job. And James's job is tops.
Game shot.
And that is a very fine job as well.
Richardson.
You can see Richie in the background. He can't believe what's transpired over the last 90 minutes or so. But this game is all about what you do, not what your opponent does.
Third leg. It's Richie to throw first. Game on.
His head is shaking more times than a Wayne Gretzky bobblehead.
$99.
Yes, we've reached that time of the night where the similes come in. You can't be a Geordie commentator in darts without having a few
81.
likes and ifs. I am, of course, paying homage
97.
to one of my fellow Northumbrians in Sid Waddell, who was greatly missed within the game. He was delightfully crazy. And let me, at this
60.
late hour, just share a small tale with you about Sid Waddell. I used to be sponsored by the same equipment manufacturer as him. I went to a launch dinner in the summer of 2009.
48.
There were a few libations taken that night, I'm not ashamed to say. And after spending my evening with Barry Bates and Wes Newton, I was summoned to a different table by Sid Waddell.
180.
As Richardson finds a maximum to leave the equivalent of a maximum. But when summoned to Sid's table, he
57.
proceeded to start a seance. Yes, he was calling the spirits up. Did he find them? I don't know.
140.
But it really did confirm to me just how very close to crazy our Sid was. But I wouldn't have changed him for the world.
32. James, you require
Richardson
40.
has got everything in his own hands here.
Game shot on the
And he
third
has a
leg.
3-0 lead.
James Richardson.
And Burnett's chances of making the top 3 in this group may be hanging in the balance and maybe hanging on how he starts tomorrow night against Richardson.
Fourth leg, it's James to throw first. Game on.
The fixtures will be flipped. And in game 2 tomorrow, or indeed later tonight, Richardson will take on Burnett.
135.
So in his hands right here, he possibly has the destiny of Burnett and the finals of the week. If He can drill him twice.
95.
He really will damage Richie's chances. Because I'm not sure that 8 points is going to get to third position. It might well do.
100.
But what Richie does not want right now is his positive leg difference to disappear.
$41.
I have to applaud James Richardson with the way he has just stuck to his task in this match.
42.
I can say from experience that when Richie is not pleased with his performance, he's very difficult to play. That's one of the reasons why James is looking the other way. He just wants to focus on what he's doing.
59.
Don't underestimate just how bad the start was for James a little bit earlier.
60.
He unexpectedly lost to Nick Fullwell after being in a strong position and was taken out by a very good Scott Marsh in match number 3.
Come on, man.
100. James, you require 164.
6 darts to get this one done. He couldn't possibly do it in 3. Not again. He might have sent Richie Burnett over the edge. If someone had taken a 164 after Nick Fullwell took a 143 to beat him 4 legs to 3.
$121. James, you require 69.
Could be treble 15. It will be 1 dart at tops.
Game,
Match
shots,
done by
and
James
the match.
Richardson, so a
James
very
Richardson.
good plan executed by him. He puts Richie Burnett in the sin bin for at least a few hours. It's not a vintage performance by any means, an 83.5 average, but he will take a 4-0 victory. It's good enough to get him to 4 points for the night, which is a very good position after losing his first 2 matches. We're going to see if Scott Marsh can get double that amount and top the table after 4 matches on 8 points. He's going to be coming up in his final match against Nick Fullwell after the break. One more match for tonight's action is about to commence, and it is, of course, an opportunity for Nick Fullwell to draw level with Scott Marsh on 6 points. So let's get straight down to the board for it. If he is to win the match, Nick Fullwell, currently on 4 points and a leg difference of +1, will climb into second position.
Scott to throw first. Game on.
But there is the most minute of possibilities that he could top the table if he wins by 4-0. That's what we've had the last 2 matches.
140.
But Scott Marsh, as you can tell from those little fist pumps that we've been getting all night, he fancies this. He fancies getting his way into
55.
the weekly finals. And based on the way he's played so far, I think he should fancy his chances of making Champions Week as well.
140.
Averages for this evening for Scott: 98.67, 94.95, and 93.94.
140.
That is very consistent. And add to that, if you want to talk about consistency, this is the epitome of it. Match 1, 67% on doubles. Match 2,
91.
67% on doubles. Match 3, you guessed it, 67% on doubles.
44.
He's won 12 legs
Scott,
tonight.
You require 130.
And hasn't had that many shots at a double.
$58.
So when he's getting a shot, he's taking it more often than not.
100.
Word to the wise for Nick Fullwell, who makes a huge error there.
Scott, you require 72.
Going for the 20s on the last dart. Shouldn't really make any difference.
32.
But he should have a shot at 164 here. It is, unfortunately, his own fault that he doesn't have a shot at, say, a 164.
92. Scott, you
Here can
require
be the difference
40.
between winning a match and losing a match.
Game
Well,
shot on
Scott
the first
Marsh
leg.
keeps
Scott
that trend
Marsh.
going. If he does miss a double at any point in a match, he comes back and he takes it with the next dart. If that continues, I only see one winner in this one.
Second leg, it's Nick to throw first. $60.
As for Nick's performances tonight, 4-3 win over James Richardson, averaging 87.37. 4-3 win
60.
over Richie Burnett with an average of 90.71. He also got 67% on his doubles in that one, including that incredible 1-4-3 at the end.
100.
He had a 4-3 loss to Robert Rickwood. But this one, I just think he's going to have to start
96.
well. If he lets Scott Marsh get the 2-leg jump, I fear for his chances of winning it.
43.
The one person who really should have beaten Scott Marsh so far is Richie Burnett. Had him on toast, as we say in this game.
100.
You always know when someone says that phrase in local darts or maybe in some international games. I had him on toast. You know what's coming next. I didn't put him away.
43.
I didn't put her away. What it means is I was in position to win and just didn't.
140.
Not really sure where that phrase came from. I had them on toast. I'm sure we'll have to find the origins of that saying.
40.
Well, Scott Marsh is
Scott,
looking
you
for that
require
2-0 lead.
105.
We're approaching 1 a.m. here in the UK, and Scott is looking fresh and energised. That works. 48 left. Tops again.
65.
And again, he bends the wire on his first attempt. And again, Nick Fullwell cannot punish with Scott on tops with 3 in hand. If this trend
100.
continues, we could have our third 4-0
Scott,
in
you
3
require
games.
40.
Big snarl. Just to the right. And for the first time
26.
tonight, he's had a dodgy doubles visit.
Nick, you require 115.
Maybe he was in the mindset that it was just going to go. Double top.
75.
And Nick can't steal it. At least not yet.
Scott, you require 14.
Double 7, straight for it. No thought of splitting it.
No score.
Not able to find the double in 3 different visits.
Nick, you require 40.
I have not seen that from him all evening. Can Nick find double 10?
Game
He
shot
can't
on
hit
the
double
second
5
leg.
though.
Nick Fullwell.
And somehow he wins that second leg. I have no idea how. But the person in that room who is going to be shaking and scratching their head right now is Scott Marsh.
Third leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
These guys
45.
haven't got any previous experience of playing each other. A lot of the players have played each other in previous
60.
times. There have been a lot of matches this year between the likes of Wolfie, Richardson, Burnett, Jared Cole, Richard North, some of the most experienced players.
140.
Scott Marsh has been playing here all year long. He has been a bit of a stalwart of this. But one thing I can say is that they've played each
41.
other twice outside of the Online Darts Live League. And on both occasions it was best of 9. And on both occasions Nick Fullwell won.
60.
One was back in 2016 on the Challenge Tour, so that's quite a while ago. And the other time, again, was the Challenge Tour in 2020.
97.
They've played in the Goliath arenas of Wigan and Barnsley. And on both occasions, it looks like Nick Fullwell was not troubled with wins of 5-3 and 5-1.
100.
Judging by the amount of games that Scott has played since then, I'm sure he will maybe remember that he's played Nick at some point, but won't remember the results. You can't remember every game that you play.
140.
You will play thousands in your career.
Scott, you require
It's
156.
impossible to remember them all, but not for the first time tonight. Nick Fullwell has left a bogey number. Double 18.
120.
All will be well as long as he takes it next time. You can't keep leaving bogey numbers, Nick.
86. Scott, you require 36.
Double 18 to re-establish that lead. Double 9.
Game shot on the third leg.
And that will settle him
Scott
down
Marsh.
after that troublesome second leg where he missed all sorts of doubles. Double 7, double 10, double top. And double 9's not an easy one, but at least they got him the lead back.
Fourth leg, it's Nick to throw first. Game on. 100.
You know, you're getting a little bit older in years, like myself. When
60.
a lot of the guys that you used to play against on a regular basis have all got grey hair. I remember the days when Robert Thornton used to fit into a large shirt.
95.
I remember when Nick had brown hair. Oh, how things have changed. You just have to accept the environment that you're in. And I really do.
84.
Very privileged to have sat in this seat all year long with the likes of Chris Mason, Chris Murphy and Mark Webster. I will guide you through the rest of Group C and Group B tomorrow. Sorry, today.
180.
First 180 of the match comes right there from Nick Fullwell. Fairly tired statistics here. Marsh on an 81 average, 82 for Fullwell.
123.
But after this week,
126.
you won't see me until the end of October.
$46.
Well, Marsh from here is thinking 20, single 19 and 25 minimum. But he's not going to go that route. He's going to be Mr. Aggressive.
100.
I think the
Nick
25 was the play
80.
with the last dart to get himself under 130. Double 10.
60.
Now this is an outside chance. Does he fancy the 54
Scott, you
tops
require
route?
134.
The eyes are north, so I think yes. Good visit in the end, just in case Nick has a nightmare and double 10.
20.
You don't expect him to.
Game
And he
shot on the
doesn't.
fourth leg.
That's a good 16
Nick
darter
Fullwell.
from Nick Fullwell to draw us level at 2-2. I just wonder how the energy levels are of these players as we go into possibly the last 3 legs of the night.
Fifth leg, it's Scott to throw first. Game on.
I say possibly because we could possibly only have 2.
$127.
Scott will be hoping there's only 2. Because in a positive sense, that would mean he'd win 4-2. Finish the night on 8 points, unanswered, and a leg difference of plus
60.
10. He will be massively in the driving seat for the top 3 positions to go through to the finals, if that's the case.
26.
Scott Marsh's win percentage is currently sitting at around 58%. It was a lot closer
83.
to 70% before he joined us the last time he was here. He didn't have the best time of it in phase number 4. But it looks to me like he's on the rebound.
$84.
Don't underestimate just how difficult it is for these players to play at this early hour. It is not natural for most semi-professional, amateur, or even professional players,
100.
however you want to call them. These are players without tour cards, so for me they're classed as amateur players. They do have day jobs,
60.
so playing at 1 o'clock in the morning
Scott, you require 152.
could be classed as a rarity, and it's very difficult. I have to say that I don't think I've played at this late an hour
128.
as a pro, or even as an amateur. Not in this time zone anyway.
85.
Double 12
Scott, you require
will
24.
give us another 16 darter. And Scott Marsh the lead. Two sixes.
Game shot on the
Very
big
well done.
leg. Scott
I'm not sure
Marsh.
that one was hitting the double six, but with the assist of the dart just on the outside, it does find its way into the 12 bed for a 3-2 lead.
Sixth leg, it's Nick to throw first. Game on.
Now Nick Fullwell's in the defensive position. He is staring defeat in the face
60.
and potentially handing a perfect day to Scott. And if he finds one more leg, he will not only bank the 8 points, but he will have a 4-point cushion
140.
going into later today. I think it's very fair to say that he has been the most consistent player.
100.
His doubles percentage in this match is way down on what he's done before. But maybe he was due a bad doubles performance.
81.
But if you can still win with a bad doubles performance, then all is forgiven. Well, Nick's got every right to feel aggrieved with that second dart. How that didn't go in the 60, I'll never know. He's just too good. And Marsh has zero sympathy.
100
by banking his first maximum of the match, potentially with his last attempt at a maximum for the entire evening.
100.
We did have someone bank 280
Scott,
points in
100.
6 darts a little bit earlier. That was Corinne Hammond. We're not going to get that from Scott here. I don't like that play at all. And I don't think he was thinking that one through.
80.
But like I say, it will all be forgotten as long as he gets the win. They're just the small mistakes that you don't need to make.
60. Scott, you require
Double 10 to finish our evening. And Marsh for the driving seat. To be very, very close to Saturday night already.
No score.
Not yet.
Nick, you require 138.
He's not going to save himself with another biggie here. He's got 74 scored. He's got 64 left.
64. $90.
That's decent pressure.
Scott, you
And
require
Marsh had no
20.
joy the last time he was here. Double 4 though.
$12.
And isn't able to get the job done with 6 match darts.
Nick, you require 48.
Is this going to bite him unexpectedly?
32.
Fullwell misses 2 savers at 16s and 8s.
Scott, you require
And now Marsh,
8.
who is starting to look a bit jaded by this game, comes back for 4s.
Game,
And finally
shots,
gets over
and
the line
match. Scott
with his
Marsh.
9th match dart. It wasn't his best performance of the night, but it was gritty, to say the least. Forget about those stats. They don't mean anything. But what we do know is that Scott Marsh has topped the table this evening with 8 points. And with a 4-2 victory in that match, he has got a leg difference of +10. An 82 average, slightly down on what he's done for the rest of the evening. Nick with a somewhat tired display in his 4th match of the night. He will return a little bit later on from 10 o'clock. He's in position, of course, in 3rd in the table behind James Richardson, who recovered brilliantly tonight. It is all to play for from 10 p.m. tonight. But before that, at 9:30 a.m., we will have the conclusion of Group C to see which two players will join Martin Adams in the finals. So plenty of action for Friday to come. Keep it online darts throughout the course of Friday. I've been Paul the Asset Nicholson for now. So have a very pleasant Friday. Hope you can join us later. I'm signing out. See you later.